Vancouver might dodge a bullet here. Obviously, it's not the situation that they wanted to be painted into, but this is a pretty fair way out for them.
If you thought another Friday was going to go by without another crazy trade, you're an idiot. It happens in the NHL now. JT Miller to the Rangers. We thought it was going to happen forever, but you have to wait until Friday nights to make trades now in the NHL, Pete.
That's right, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm glad that JT Miller is finally off the table and that this trade has happened. But please have trades any other time. But I don't want to complain about the Friday night thing anymore. My girlfriend's gonna kill me. But the JT Miller finally going back to the Rangers. I think he's going to where we all expected him to go. Right? We all expected the
I,
Rangers.
yes, especially once Rantanen got off the once you removed the Hurricanes from the whole JT Miller thing, you're like, okay, well, I guess he's just going to go to the Rangers. And he does in a deal that also sends Eric Brandstrom and Jackson Dorrington to the Rangers. The Canucks get Philip Hedl, Victor Mancini, and a protected first round pick. This deal a little more interesting because I think we all figured it was going to be Miller for a bunch of stuff, but instead both teams add to it, and then you end up having this. I want to talk about Hedl in a second, but what do you think of the return?
I like it. I mean, I like it for the Rangers. I think that the Rangers definitely get better in the immediacy. I like Brandstrom as part of the deal as well. He gives them a left shot D that could be on the third pair. Maybe Urho Vakanainen gets out of the lineup there. Maybe they split time, but it's a good body on the back end with some upside. Brandstrom's career it really hasn't gone the way that we thought that it might when he started and came into the league. But I mean, Miller over Hedel, I think makes them a much better team, especially in the playoffs, especially in the immediacy. He's a real leader and he plays tough. And so I think a lot of Rangers fans are going to be happy about the return here. I just, when you're Vancouver and you look at the return, you kind of ask yourselves, well, what did you expect? He painted you into a corner, and this is kind of the situation that you're dealt with. And you get a first round pick out of it, even if it is top 13 protected. You get a first round pick and a pretty good 25-year-old player in Phil Pedal. So I don't think it's bad for either team.
I'm fine with it for the Canucks with one massive if, and that is that you don't trade Pettersson now. Just
Yeah.
don't trade Pettersson, and if you end up getting, I'll say, an unspectacular return for JT Miller, then that's fine. As long as you are not gutting your entire team in the process. I feel that now that you've gotten rid of one of these guys, the whole they're moving both of them anyway doesn't need to happen anymore, especially with today's news that the cap is going to go up $1 bajillion in each of the next 3 years. That deal is only going to look better as it goes. Did I like that deal yesterday? No, but I think it's going to end up aging fine. And you can now, at that number, yeah, it's steep, but like that's no longer a that needs to be an elite player number. So I think that as long as you don't also trade Elias Pettersson, then sure, this is fine. You survived a bad situation.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it on the show. This could potentially be addition by subtraction with Miller out of that situation. Maybe Pedersen gets better, feels a little bit more comfortable. Like obviously, you're losing a really good player in JT Miller, but maybe the vibes are a little bit better with him subtracted from that toxic environment. And while we're talking about the money, I mean, Vancouver also just freed up about $4 million or $3.5 million as a result of this trade. And that's a part that I really like for them. I said that the Rangers get better immediately, but I like it for Vancouver in the sense that I didn't love the JT Miller contract at $8 million annually. And yeah, maybe it's a little bit easier to swallow as the cap goes up, but he's also a player that I could see really being affected by wear and tear over the next few years. He's signed for 3 more years. That may not look good in a few years. And so, Vancouver might dodge a bullet here. Obviously, it's not the situation that they wanted to be painted into, but this is a pretty fair way out for them.
A note on the New York Rangers. This is now the second time this season that they've tried to solve their problems by getting rid of one of their young guys. Isn't this interesting? Like they already did the Kako trade, and now they are doing now they're getting rid of Hedel in this deal. But per Cam Robinson, did you see his tweet about Philip Hedel?
No.
One source reached out to say this about Philip Hedl. Quote, I wouldn't touch him with that concussion history. So I give it maybe a little less of a towards the Rangers if this is a situation where they're like, you know what, we ultimately don't know what the end game is for Philip Hedl long term. Maybe the next few years, as JT Miller continues to age, maybe he's still more of an impact than a still growing Hedl. I think that this is a pretty solid trade for the Rangers. I think if there is a winner, it's the Rangers, even though I think that right now the Rangers, anything they add or anything they tweak, I'm going to look at with a bit of a face because I'm not sure what they expect to do this season.
Yeah, but I mean the wild card is wide open right now, and like they've won enough games in the past month or so that they're back in it. Like that's wide open. And if JT Miller helps you get in, I certainly think he gives them a better chance of getting into the playoff picture. It's a pretty fine deal. And you mentioned Hedel and his inability to stay on the ice. I think Miller gives you a little bit more certainty there, and he's a better playoff player, so I do like it.
Yeah, again, this can be a win-win as long as the Canucks don't now sell low on Pettersson. They can still trade him, I guess, but I feel that there's no longer a need to do it. Put you on the spot. Who gets traded next Friday night?
I hope nobody. I want to stay in my relationship. Please, nobody trade. Start trading so that we can do shows right after it. We don't have to always do these emergency videos so that we don't talk about them for 3 days. Please.
Well, if you're enjoying these emergency videos, you should check out our show every day on YouTube. It is not about these things because we do these things as they come out. So we dress up like funny animals and goof around and make players review movies. It's a gas. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere you can be. Thanks. We'll talk to you for the next trade next Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.